Go on.
I was just gonna, so day one, when you're in the booth, when the on-air light goes on, the first issue you want to talk about is what? You decided at this point?
Well, it is the day after 9/11. And for those of us in the media, I know where I was that day. I was live on the air when that first plane hit the towers. So what I'm really hoping to do is get down to New York City the day before and grab some sound. You know, I want to be down there. I want to talk to people on the ground at 9/11. I was there as a broadcaster a couple of months later when they were pulling bodies out. You know, we can't ignore 9/11, and we're on the air the next day. So I'm sure that'll be a big part of it. And again, what's the main impact there? You know, what happened to Mainers who were there? I personally, after I got off the air, I got in the radio station van and I went out. People wanted to hug you. People wanted to kiss you. I just drove around that van every hour I wasn't on the air. And at the end of that week, I had $81,000 in a pickle bucket. You know, people emptied their pockets in Maine for persons they've never known. And that was what Maine did. So I think, you know, we're going to be very timely, but we're also going to be caring about what the institutional memory is of what goes on in the world. What happened after that day? Now we've got 6 war zones in the world. We've got drones bombing, unmanned drones bombing communities in Somalia. This is the offshoot of the war on terror. You know, I mean, we only have 4 hours a day. How in God's name are we going to cover it all?
From a radio station point of view, I think that so much talk radio now is satellite driven, and so much of the interaction is some guy on a cell phone and he's in his car in Wheeling, West Virginia, or in San Diego, California, and he's talking about this, that, or the other thing. And we've had a certain amount of satellite programming. Let's face it, it's relatively inexpensive to do, and people get involved with the hot button issues. But it's also important to get that local perspective and to have some kind of a community back and forth, a kind of interaction. And that's the sort of thing that Pat and Don will probably be doing a lot of, and something where we can actually be a force for good in the community. We hope to do that. Of course, we have our perspective, and we have a right to have our perspective because this is America, darn it.
Now, I know that this has been a shift, that your station here has made a shift to progressive talk over the last several months. Is this where it's going to be heading now? I mean, obviously, this was a local sports station. Are you still going to be offering some of those kind of things, or is progressive talk where you see this going?
We'll still have some sports, and we're committed to the Red Sox, and we're exploring a lot of different sports options. But we were a sports station for, I think, maybe
17 years.
17 years. I was going to say 12 because I was having fun and it seemed shorter. But it was clear that it wasn't what the Bangor market as a whole wanted. And what there really seems to be a crying need for in this market is, if I can steal a slogan, is fair and balanced coverage of the news and politics. And we have a certain amount that sort of tips one way on the political spectrum. We like to tip a little bit on the other so that if you have a seesaw, things balance.
Except that we're right.
We are.
Right or left?
We're a little bit to the left, but we're right. That's what I mean about balance. We have it both ways.
So what is the status of the sports talk radio for that? You said you have a little bit of sports?
We have sports games. We'll still be, we're a Red Sox affiliate. We have Boston Bruins, Boston Celtics, and we'll still be doing high school sports, including high school tournaments.
So, yeah, the tournaments are a big deal. That's part of that community.
Will there still
thing.
be the afternoon talk show?
On the AM, Dale and Glenn are still
Sure.
doing their afternoon sports show.
You mentioned earlier the bullies in this talk show being kind of a way of fighting back. Who are the bullies, and how do you plan on fighting?
Well, right now there are about 400 of them in Congress. There are quite a few in Augusta. There are some people that advance an agenda of, in my opinion, which I guess is what this is half about. They advance the agenda of the people, get them elected. There's a financial situation in the United States of America that, by the way, when we regime changed Iraq, we didn't give them. We didn't give them a government like ours. We gave them a representative government, a parliament. So we have a winner-take-all system, and the people taking all are the people that get the person elected. And so we have a need, I think, to push back in the name of the people who really make this country great. And those are everything from mommies and daddies and little kids to those veterans and military people we send off to do our bidding. And I don't believe it's our bidding they're doing, it's the special interest bidding. So I guess a quick answer would be bullies are those special interests.
We've answered all your questions.
I just had a quick note. Obviously, with this economy, a lot of radio stations are cutting back, you know, letting people go
Yeah,
left and right,
they
like you
are.
said earlier. Like most of these announcements are for that reason. I think this provides, you know, a sense of optimism for the market here, not just media, but just in general, the job market, that you guys are able to, you know, expand and, you know, give something to the people as well.
Bangor's a beautiful, lively community, and they deserve a beautiful, lively radio station, and we're gonna try to give them that. At this point, I think, particularly with the economy the way that it is, the best thing you can do is go forward and be optimistic, and we're trying to do that.
Yeah, I think that's also evidenced by sort of a renewed focus upon the notion of local news, locally produced news, where we have people who are, you know, right in this building who are making an effort to go out and gather that news. I think there are certainly some people in this room who understand that working in the news business can be a pretty tough row to hoe. And it can be difficult for an organization to make a commitment to see to it that that's something that's brought in house and that works well. You know, we've got people like Ms. Gabrielli who are with us, our guy Don Morgan who is with us. Those are voices that people are familiar with. They can be comfortable with, and they can recognize that there are people who are making a concerted effort to keep a portion of our focus here very much on the local community. That I don't think that can be overstated.
And any of us who've been in the media for 20 years know that we all started out working for independent owners. And then we got bought out, and we got bought out, and we got bought out. And I failed to mention that, but that is one of the exciting things, is to actually work for an owner who lives in the town instead of somebody who's publicly traded on Wall Street, where the agenda is to get one voice to do the voice tracks on 17 stations, and then the next thing you know, you only need 1/17 of the talent.
Okay, so you two are pretty experienced in news. Never worked with Stephen King before. Any intimidation for him to be your boss?
I just don't want to be some really scary woman in a book.
Really?
I don't want to be his muse.
Yeah, to meet somebody who scared the dickens out of me personally, on more occasions than I can likely count, is a bit intimidating. But I think certainly in conversations with him, the notion that you know, this is about community, and it's about trying to bring some sort of reasoned perspective to what's going on in Maine and in our country is very obvious.
I have a bunch of heroes. You know, I have a bunch of people I look up to in my life, and I remember an ad from when I was in high school, or sorry about that, maybe college, of
Maybe grad school.
Yeah, that was it. Of Mr. King standing in the stacks at the Bangor Library. You know, and governments have defunded and de-emphasized things like libraries, and so I get to work for a hero, and I think that's what's true. It's more and more. I already got
I
the
don't
job,
remember
it's
what
not-
we're paying you, but we'll have to raise your salary.
Super.
You
You
know,
all have that on tape, right?
I actually